Hello, my name is Brooke Bosley, and today I'll be discussing my research, Social Interaction, Robots and Apps Working Together to Educate Children. So, the goal of my project was to help redesign the avatar robot, and the motivation for this is we wanted the robot to be more children-friendly, become an educational device, but also give children the ability to interact with robotics and the ability to socially interact with apps. So, my research objective was to develop an educational application for the Android device that would be able to interact with an avatar robot. And so when I mean interact, we refer to how if the child touches the app, the robot will move a certain way or make a certain sound. Before I could begin, I looked at two different apps that were very effective in getting children engaged. So the first was Chilla's World, which does a good job of allowing children to touch the app, but also allowing the robot to interact with the app. The second was Tokaboka, which does a really good job of visually appealing, but also getting children engaged in discovery. It doesn't have a lot of direction, so once the child clicks on the app, it automatically goes to the game. And so it's all about exploring and understanding how things work. So I decided that I wanted to create a math game. So the first thing I did was I looked at current math games, and one of them I had looked at was Mr. R's Math Story, which does a really good job of storytelling, but also incorporating math comprehension. A second thing I looked at was the Common Core standards, which are adopted by numerous states and state territories, as you can see from the map on the left. And last, I looked at the U.S. Department of Education's teaching materials, particularly for kindergarten through third grade, because I felt like they would be more affected by the app and the robot. So once I came up with these math requirements, I was able to then design the game, and I decided that I wanted to create an environmental game. And one of the reasons I decided to do this was because I felt like it was a global issue. It's something that's commonly talked about, but more importantly, I felt that I could effectively implement math concepts within this game. So as you can see from the left, there's a bin, and on the bin it has a different shape, and so the child would have to drag the correct shape to the bin. And so if they saw a circle, they would drag the circle to the bin. And I had another bin with a triangle and a square, and also matching shapes as well. So to help me develop this game, I used Unity 3D software, which is a multi-platform gaming software, and I programmed it in C#, but I used their 2D gaming software. And the 2D gaming software had a lot of glitches because of its newness. One of the elements that were very important in Unity 3D was packages. So one of the packages that I used was the Fungus open source package, and the Fungus open source package allowed you to tell stories in your 2D game. So I was able to download that software within my Unity 3D. So when people play with the app, they would be getting told a story as well. So the last concept that I wanted to incorporate in my game was I wanted a drag and drop and on collision feature. So those were helpful, but I found out that in the Unity 2D software, they don't really work well. So those were my main problems in getting the game to operate effectively. So after I went about designing and programming it, I had 4 individuals test my game, and I also had them complete a survey. And so in my survey I asked, was the game easy to operate? Was it engaging? Did you find it visually friendly? What ways could I improve the game? And I also asked, like, what did you get out of it? So what I discovered from my survey was that the game was easy to understand the game direction. But the second thing was the game needed a lot of improvement, especially with the functionality of the game and also with the storytelling and the features of it. So those were 2 areas that I really needed to enhance. So in conclusion, I was able to create a game in virtual reality that incorporated the Common Core standards for children in kindergarten. So Even though I was able to create an effective game, I know I have a lot of work to do in the future. My first thing is I need to enhance the drag and drop code for the objects. Also, I need to improve the operation of the game objects. The game objects can be more visually friendly and more open to children. The third was to create additional levels of the game. Also to incorporate additional math standards as well, and test the app with the avatar robot. But also another important component was to have younger children test the product. So I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the Shore Robotics Program, the National Science Foundation grant, my faculty advisor, Dr. Ayanna Howard, my graduate student mentor, Brittany English, and my graphic designer, Melvin Rice. Thank you all so much for listening.